Picture it. Your boss just cut you down in front of your whole team. Your face is hot. Everyone is suddenly finding their laptops very interesting, and your brain goes completely blank. If that has happened to you, or you can feel that coming, this is for you. I'm going to give you exactly what to do in 3 windows: what to do in the moment, what to do in the hour after, and what to do in the days after. So you walk out with your power back instead of replaying it at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've spent nearly 2 decades inside HR. I watched employee relations from the room where things get handled, so I'm not guessing. After roughly 20 years in HR, up to the top of the function, I've ran every kind of investigation into every kind of employee complaint. And I've watched many executives and managers humiliate people and then watch HR manage the fallout to protect the company. Then I became the target. So I have seen this from all sides. One of the most important things to remember is that humiliation in front of others is almost never about your work. It's a power move, and the audience is the point. So your first action is internal. You name it correctly to yourself. This was about control, not competence. The reason that matters is it stops the spiral. And you stop asking yourself, what did I do wrong? And you force yourself to think about, what do I do next? Which is the only useful question in that moment. I know when this happened to me personally, I would freeze. And I would beat myself up for days thinking about things that I should have said, things I should have done. But what happened in that room and what happens to you afterwards is not a character flaw. This is just biology. When someone humiliates you, your brain does not file this as an awkward moment. It files it as a threat. Your amygdala, the fastest threat detector, fires before you can even think, and it pulls your thinking brain, the part that finds words and stays composed, partly offline. That is why your mind goes blank, and the perfect response only shows up hours later in the car ride home. You don't fail in these moments. Your brain has done exactly what it was built to do under threat. And here's what shocks people. Dr. Jen Fraser, who wrote The Bully Brain, spent years going through the neuroscience, and the finding is pretty blunt. Humiliation, name-calling, mocking, being berated, all of it can do physical harm to the brain. No one has to lay a hand on you. The scars show up on brain scans. So none of this is about just words. There is also a real reason it hurts like a physical wound. Researchers like Naomi Eisenberger have shown that social pain, being rejected, excluded, humiliated, lights up the same circuitry in the brain as physical pain. So when you say something feels like a gut punch, you're not being dramatic. Your brain is literally routing this experience through the same alarm system. And when it goes on for months, the stress chemistry keeps washing through your body. Cortisol wears on your memory, your focus, your decision-making, which is a cruel loop, because then you blame yourself for being foggy and scattered and not sharp enough to handle it. That fog is a symptom, not a failing. One more thing Dr. Fraser points out, and I want you to sit with it. When we are bullied, and especially gaslit, we turn inward and ask, what is wrong with us? The research says we have it backward. The person to be studying is the one doing it. So here is the reframe. You are not weak. You are not too sensitive. You have a normal human brain responding normally to someone setting off your threat system on purpose. And the real hope is this. Because of your neuroplasticity, the brain is wired to repair and recover. Fraser's whole body of work is about that healing. But you cannot heal from something you are still too busy blaming yourself for. This is exactly why the silent move I'm about to show you matters. If your voice does not come, that is your biology, not some form of cowardice. So we build a plan that works with your nervous system instead of shaming you for it. As this happens in the moment, your instinct will be to freeze or fire back. Both hand them exactly what they want, which is a reaction. The real move is to stay low and level, and then choose your response to match 2 things: how bad it was and how safe you are to push. Is this the first time, or has this been building for months? Because those are 2 completely different situations, and they call for 2 different moves. If this is new, you have more room to respond in the room. But if this boss has done this to you again and again, remember what we just said about the brain. Speaking up in the moment can feel impossible by now, and your voice may simply not come. This is not weakness. This is a threat response we just talked about. So if this is you, you do not have to say a word. You have another move. The move you can always make, even when you cannot speak, is to open your notebook or your phone right there in the room and slowly, visibly, where they can see you doing it, write down the exact time and the name of every person sitting in that room. You do not announce it. You do not explain it. The act is the message. It tells the boss and it tells the room that this is being recorded now. It does two things at once. It quietly shifts the temperature because most people behave differently the second they realize they're on the record. And it starts your contemporaneous record in the same motion. So you are protected whether or not you ever utter a single word out loud. This is the floor. Anyone can do this on their worst day when they are too frightened to do anything else. Everything that follows is optional. If you do have room to respond, here is the verbal ladder. Level 1, the neutral deflect, lowest risk, for when you need to protect your position or you are not safe to push. I hear you. Let's take this offline and go through the specifics. You give them nothing to feed on. Level 2 is a calm correction, for when you cannot let it stand, but you want to be clearly professional. I don't think that that's a fair characterization. I'm going to walk through it after this. Level 3, make them repeat it. This is the quiet power move, and it lands hardest when it's not the first time because you are no longer flinching. You look at them, stone-faced. Some people even say gray-faced, without emotion, evenly, almost politely, and you say, "I'm sorry, do you care to repeat that?" And then you stop. You let the silence sit, and most people will not say the cruel thing twice, in cold blood, in front of a room, because said slowly and on purpose, it exposes them, not you. The pause is the entire technique. Do not rush to fill it. Level 4, name it in the room. For when you have decided you are done shrinking and you have your record and a clear read on the risk. Said calmly, not loudly, "That was a personal attack, not feedback. You can talk to me about my work. You do not get to talk to me like that." Whatever rung you pick, or if you pick none of them and just quietly write down the time, the rule underneath all of this is the same. You never match their heat. The calm is the power. If they deny this happened, your response remains calm. I'm not going to try and argue about intent. I'm telling you how it landed, and I'm asking that it not happen in front of the team. If they flip it to your performance, I'm happy to talk more about my performance in our one-on-one. Right now, I'm addressing how that was said in front of everyone. If they escalate or rage, you disengage on purpose. I can see this isn't a good moment. Let's pick it back up when we can both be calm. Then you leave and you write it down. The through line, you never match their heat. You stay specific, you stay calm, and you refuse to perform the reaction they are fishing for. First, get your body back down before you do anything else. Walk, water, a few real breaths. You make no big decisions and you send no angry messages in the first hour. Then, while it is fresh, you write it down. Date, time, exactly what was said, and who else was in the room. Facts only, no venting. Keep it somewhere the company does not have control. Your personal device or personal email, never the work laptop. This is where you flip from feeling powerless to building something they cannot take away. After the dust settles, you send one short, polite, factual email that quietly puts it on the record. So you can use a simple template like, "Hi, Bob or Sally, following up on today's meeting. To make sure I captured your feedback correctly, you raised concerns about X and asked me to do Y. If I've misunderstood any of it, let me know." Simple, neutral, professional, and dated. What this does is it converts a loud, deniable, in-the-room moment into a calm, written record. They confirm it, correct it, or ignore it, and all three of those help you. You're not being aggressive, you're being thorough, and thorough is what survives. One humiliating meeting is an incident, and anyone can potentially explain away an incident. A string of them, dated and lined up, is a pattern of conduct. So you put your records on a timeline. What happened, when, who saw it, what it cost you. Was it a project that was pulled, a meeting you were cut from, the review that dropped? A pattern is a thing that is almost impossible to wave away. And it is what turns "I feel targeted" into something an HR investigator or a lawyer can see in 10 seconds. After all the steps taken so far, you have 3 lanes that you can go into. 1, a direct, calm conversation with the boss, best when it's fixable and you are safe. 2, a written report to HR when it's not stopping. And 3 is outside help. If you report, understand what you are walking into. HR does not work for you, HR works for the company. So you make protecting you the lower risk option. You put it in writing and point to the exact policy and state what was done. And if it touches a protected category, if it got worse right after you spoke up, that is not a small detail. That is when a free consultation with an employment attorney becomes the smart, calm next step. And if you are thinking about this option, be ready for an investigation and be sure to check out our other videos on working with HR when HR is not protecting you and how the investigative process works. Links are in the description below. We already named why this hurts the way it does, so take that seriously as a real health issue, not a weakness to push through. Lean on the people who are safe, talk to a therapist if you can, and remember the hopeful part of the science. The brain is built to recover once the threat stops running the show. And know that the whole reason you build the record is so you don't have to carry it in your body. Once it's written down and stored, you're allowed to set it down. You cannot always stop someone from trying to humiliate you. What you can control is your response in the room and the record you build after it. Calm in the moment, facts on paper afterwards. That combination is what quietly moves the power back to your side of the table. You do not have to win the meeting. You just have to stop losing yourself in it. If this is happening to you right now and you want a second set of eyes on your specific situation, this is exactly what we do at the Fair Path Project. I work with people one-on-one to figure out the next move. The link to book a consultation is in the description.